Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening even. So good evening and welcome to our sixth Tech Bites. And yeah, delighted that you've joined us this evening. And yeah, we're really pleased to present more exciting products for you. Obviously, I'll take this opportunity just to mention, obviously we were looking forward to doing our show in January, but given the current situation with coronavirus, we are now postponing that show till May. We're very confident about how we can deliver a very safe event for you in May. So in the meantime, obviously Tech Bites is here to deliver new products, information, and a way for you to kind of interact with and talk to new suppliers whilst we get ready for the show in May. So a little bit longer to wait than we'd hoped, but we can't wait to see everybody again at the event. So look forward to seeing you there. On to tonight, and yeah, we're joined today by Paris Hatzi from Luminance, who's going to be presenting to us, as well as Tosh Vardia from Heidelberg Engineering, Andy Green and Michelle Green presenting Lid Vision, and Nick Atkins from Positive Impact, who's going to be talking about eye doctor as well. And I'm delighted, as always, to be joined by Jay. Jay, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Nathan. How are you? You've had a busy couple of weeks, I hear.
Very busy, yeah. So yeah, we've been immersed in our virtual world. So yeah, this is it's good to be back on Tech Bites, and looking forward to tonight's presentations.
Absolutely.
So yeah, brilliant. With that, Jayshree, I'm going to hand straight over to you and to introduce our first speaker.
Okay, great. Here we go then. So welcome to our first speaker, Paris Hatzi Antaziadis. So hopefully I got that right, Paris. I tried my best. With a molecular degree with a master's degree, I beg your pardon, in molecular biology and genetics background, Paris has worked in both the biotech and medtech industries. An expert in creating, managing and delivering a large distribution network in more than 30 countries, encompassing Europe, Middle East and Africa. He's highly skilled at navigating the international medical sales arena and bringing new technologies to the market. Paris is fortunate to work with a highly innovative company and help with launch of game-changing technologies that optimize procedure outcomes and improve patients' lives. Paris is Sales Director Vision of Luminous and will be showcasing Optima IPL Luminous Solutions. Over to you, Paris. Your 2 minutes about yourself.
Thank you very much, Jay. Appreciate it.
Yeah, go for it.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. Hello, everybody, and thank you for the opportunity of being a panelist this evening. My name is Paris Hatzi Anastasiadis. You can understand why we shortened to Paris. Makes sense. Like Jay said, I come from the biotech industry, but for the last 20 years, I've been in the medical device market in various roles and specialties. I'm very fortunate in my recent role to be joined to Luminous. Luminous is a global leader in energy-based solution for ophthalmology. And in my current role, I take care of the day-to-day business in EMEA. Before we get into it, I would like to share with you a life hack that I think you will find very interesting. It comes from my biotech background. It's small things that you can actually do to change your longevity and also your vitality. It's small changes in your day-to-day life, like the way you eat, when we eat, like activated the intermittent fasting, high and low intensity exercises, even cold showers. Also, the things that we eat, like some supplements, resveratrol, raw vegetables, all those things, what they do is they actually switch on our survival circuit. Those are genes that actually control how we age. Now, all those things and many more, actually, you can find in Dr. David Sinclair's latest book called Lifespan. I find it a fascinating read and even a better audiobook. So I strongly encourage it.
Amazing. Now that is one I will do, I think, definitely. Okay, great stuff.
Okay.
Right, let's get
so without further ado,
yeah,
I will, can you see my screen?
We can indeed, yeah.
Great. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we think it's the golden standard in treatment of the NGD, which is a disease that it's widespread. You can hear it nowadays with the lifestyles that we're leading. Lumenis has been a game-changing creator since the beginning of its existence. 50 years ago, they gave us the first photocoagulator. 23 years ago, the first SLT. 22 years ago, the first IPL, and now we're very happy to also have the 6th generation of an IPL specifically made to combat dry eye disease. As we all know, there are two kinds of dry eye disease. One is the aqueous deficient, and the other one is the evaporative or MGD, meibomian gland dysfunction. And most of the patients out there suffer from the latter. Fortunately, we have found that IPL works very well on those patients. What happens, of course, is that the meibomian glands, instead of producing their normal oily solution, they produce a very viscous toothpaste-like solution that does not provide adequate lubrication for the cornea. And also they get clogged with the result of being atrophied and not working very well. Fortunately, IPL has been shown, especially we've seen in use 2017, that IPL restores those atrophied glands, and actually you can produce again the right viscosity of the meibum. Now, this disease is keeping health professionals very busy. We have more than 27 million people that are afflicted by this disease with episodic or moderate severe symptoms. Those are the patients that will actually look for a solution in the market. Unfortunately, the solutions out there are not very effective from the pharmaceutical point of view. There's some drugs that work very well, but could have some symptoms. Some of them, especially depending on where you are, could be expensive with limited effectiveness. But we have seen across the board that the most biggest problem is compliance. As we all know, patients are terrible in keeping up with the doctor's advice. They forget, life goes in the middle, and they forget to take their medication. Therefore, the symptoms do not get any better. From the device perspective, we have seen that the technology is not exactly there yet. It could be expensive and uncomfortable for the user. Now, IPL is the only solution that actually works to the root cause of the problem, which in most cases is inflammation. And this is propagated through the for the ocular vasculature around the eye, meaning that there's some leaky vessels that actually leak inflammatory agents like interleukins and cytokines that start the vicious cycle of side effects that lead to the dry eye symptoms. Now, we have seen that IPL, and especially Optima IPL, has tremendous results in all the metrics, all the indicators of dry eye, like tear breakup time, speed score, tear meniscus height, and of course, meibography. And there are more than 20 studies that actually we have compiled through the years that show prospective and retrospective efficacy of Optima IPL, even in long-term results after the last treatment. Most importantly, we've seen that the patient actually have a tremendous response. We've seen the quality of life becomes better, and this is the most powerful statement in any for any doctor. Now, the treatment by itself is very simple and very fast. In a post-COVID environment, you don't have to have too much contact with the patient. We have an applicator that delivers this energy. We go as close to the lid margin as possible, from trachus to trachus, about 25 to 30 shots, including the nose. And the reason, again, if you remember the slide before, is because we need to eliminate those leaky telangiectasias. And it's highly recommended that after the application of the energy, the doctor does an expression of the meibomian glands for two reasons. First of all, to see where the status of the disease, I mean, if the progression has been stopped or is the same. And of course, because the patient feels a lot of relief right after it. This treatment is suitable for almost everybody. The only people that cannot be applied to are people from African descent. And that is because of the high accumulation of melanin in the epidermis that would actually attract all the energy and could cause hyperpigmentation. The reason Optima IPL is so successful is because we have a software that controls the delivery of energy. When you treat the thinnest skin in the body, it's very important that you don't allow spikes, even at the beginning or at the end, and you always deliver a homogeneous, what we call top hat effect. Also, it's important that when you deliver this treatment, the patient is comfortable, and that we assure by having a cool sapphire tip that it comes in contact with the skin and that the patient cannot feel the heat. Most importantly, what is important, we actually are able to pulsate the energy, meaning that we can deliver the therapeutical dose, about 13 to 15 milligels, but in small packets of energy by taking advantage of the thermal relaxation time of the tissue. So we have some on times that we deliver the energy and some off times that we can let the tissue cool down. And that, of course, eliminates any kind of side effects that might happen. So this is a system that we actually addresses the root cause of the therapy, has no consumables, no disposables, no click fees, and also has a huge aesthetic leverage, because the truth is that nowadays don't only want to see better, but also look better. The ROI, I think the ROI in this machine is the faster ROI in the market. So the question is how fast you can recruit 50 patients, because after the 50 patients, your 51st and 52nd patients, it's 100% profit. And of course, the revenue perspective is huge, because again, you don't have any disposables or any consumables to worry about. So therefore, we believe that this is a system that makes sense clinically. It's effective, safe, reproducible results, scientifically proven, and it's preferred by key opinion leaders around the world. And of course, patients also ask it by name. But it also makes sense financially, because at the end of the day, any practice is a business. And this is a drug-free, compliance-free, and insurance-free treatment. You don't have to wait for insurance to get paid. You get paid right away. It's an out-of-pocket reimbursement. It's a premium service, and it should be reimbursed as such. No disposables, no click fees. It's the fastest ROI in the market. And of course, the aesthetic component is unmatched. So we believe this is the golden standard in dry eye treatment, and you're welcome to contact us at any time for any questions you might have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paris. A little bit over.
Okay, I will.
No worries, no worries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paris. You mentioned at the end there about any questions, and I should just highlight that if you want to ask questions, you can put them into the box, and we can ask all the questions at the end for all of our panelists. So on your screen, hopefully you can see there's a box there for questions. And if you want to raise your hand, we can then come speak to you directly. We can turn on your microphone, and we really like to hear from people, so it feels like we're talking to you rather than talking into the void. So please do raise your hand and ask questions as well. So sorry, Jayshree, I'll let you carry on now.
No, that's great. Thank you there, Paris. Brilliant. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have Tosh next. Let's see if we can get Tosh on screen. We're all set to go. Here we go. Right. So I'm going to do the introduction for Tosh. Let's see whether we can get that moving. So Tosh has requested me to do it a little bit differently. He's requested that I do this a bit more uniquely, because I know that's what Tosh wanted me to do. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the 2-minute intro for him, and he's going to do the Life Hack app or favorite book. So I had a bit of work to do here. So here we go. Let's hope it works, Tosh. See what you think. So Tosh is a seasoned medical device expert with ophthalmic experience spanning over 26 years. Having worked in the fields of orthoptics, optometry, ophthalmology and pharmaceuticals, he's learnt a lot over the years, as well as having a Bachelor of Science degree to back it all up. A student, practice manager, sales manager, head of sales Northern Europe, and then general manager, which is what we are now, a timeline to ensure you're dealing with someone who is constantly learning and pushing the envelope to the next milestone. The patient-focused technology is key to how Tosh works, determined and dogmatic, I know that bit, in making a difference, okay, to the patient's diagnosis, management, and ultimate treatment. Tosh is a passionate individual who's determined to elevate imaging standards and protocols across ophthalmology, optometry, and in research to ensure patients receive individualized imaging to their own pathologies and symptoms. Extremely relationship driven, from students to key opinion leaders across the globe, going from conference to conference. Tosh enjoys discussing concerns and issues for individuals and connecting the dots to make sure that solutions he offers actually come to fruition. From introducing OCT into an optometric practice to setting out imaging protocols for a new pharma trial, the knowledge and ability across the board he has is second to none. In addition, Tosh is keen in giving back to many charities and groups who strive to make a difference in their fields. As an individual and working for many companies, he strives to be socially responsible and make sure the global ophthalmic community works together to eradicate many of the roadblocks that we encounter daily. Hope I did a good job. Tosh, over to you for your life hack, app, or favourite book.
Thank you, Jayshree. Okay, so life hack. In these current times, I think it's very, very important to invest in yourself, and especially with lots of attention drawn to mental health of late. So during the kind of pandemic phase when the company was still open, the first thing I did was make any excuse to invest in a pair of noise cancelling headphones, and that led me to kind of go back and look at the positive parts, if you want to call it, of my life, which obviously included looking a lot at back catalogues of music and investing some time in some, films, classic films, things that people had told you to watch over the years, but you never got a chance. So kind of, take your mind away to immerse yourself in another world, another time, music, movies, whatever you have, to kind of invoke childhood memories of positivity and to kind of have a positive spin on things. So life hack.
Yeah, much needed. I like that. That's much needed at this time, with what's going on the world at the moment. So that's great. Thanks very much for that. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to turn off screen and your 5 minutes starts now.
Okay. So you can see my screen.
You can see your screen. Yeah.
You see my presentation, sorry?
We can. Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay, so here we go. Give me a second, sorry. Okay, so Heidelberg Engineering, who are we? We provide ophthalmic imaging and healthcare IT solutions that improve patient care. We empower healthcare individuals with the clinical confidence to make the right decisions in the management of patients and conditions. The Spectralis is an individualized patient imaging device, so it makes bespoke scans for individual patients, multimodal. It's an upgradable platform, and it allows clinical certainty so you can make informed referral and treatment decisions. The Spectralis is used by more than 200 NHS hospitals nationwide in the UK. We're also involved with private ophthalmology extensively, neurology departments, vets, children's hospitals, optometry practices, obviously, and research trials and research centres all across the UK. One of the first divisions of the company that was formed back in 2011 when we formed the UK subsidiary was the Heidelberg Educational Academy. Very important, pivotal part of providing OCT education in the UK. One of the largest providers, I would say personally, pre and post-COVID. We had to adapt and learn new ways of getting our message across and educating clinicians and staff with webinars. Roadshows were obviously happening before COVID struck. And as usual, we attend the majority of all the exhibitions and provide CET accredited training. One really important thing from the academy point of view is that it's continuously evolving. So we never stand still. We always like to look for the next marker, the next educational approach. This year we launched the iWay Code, which, as you can see, our clinical affairs manager is standing next to his very important OCT workshop sign, Tim Cole. But an important part of the company and will continue to be so. So the Spectralis myth. So one myth that you always hear from various individuals is, I've heard the Spectralis is difficult to use. To kind of get over that, it's not fully automated, that's true, but for good reason. So the construction is deliberate and designed with the patient in mind. Obviously, you've got to adjust this focus manually and align it manually. So again, you can bring the device to the patient, which is far easier than bringing the patient to an automated device. Confocal optics and a visible infrared light source is comfortable for the patients and gets through small pupils and cataracts very easily. And live imaging and the original TrueTrack eye tracking technology never accidentally captures a blink and we actually encourage patients to blink. But this all ultimately saves time and increases efficiency. So that myth's been busted. Spectralis is not difficult to use. It's simply not a fully automatic OCT for very good reasons. It makes imaging challenging patients easy, and for this reason, it's trusted by so many hospitals. One of our optometry key opinion leaders, Dipesh Chatralia, who owns an optometric practice in Harrow in Northwood, again testifies to that. Okay, so all OCTs are the same. Well, we would say that technologies employed in the various devices in the market vary widely. Spectralis benefits from unique technologies that improve image quality and reproducibility, like TrueTrack Auto Rescan, offers uniquely 10 retinal layer segmentation and an individual segmentation of particular layers like the ganglion cell layer. It all goes to give high quality, high resolution, and giving data you can trust. And again, not all OCT devices are the same. The combination of unique Spectralis technologies removes confusion and reduces doubt when interpreting images. The clinician has a high degree of clinical confidence because the images have a quality, clarity, and reproducibility that can be trusted. Again, testified by Andrew Tatham from Edinburgh Eye Pavilion, one of our consultant ophthalmic KOLs. But this all gives unsurpassed image quality, clinical confidence, imaging certainty with the detail you have. So if you need to get in touch, we are OCT imaging experts. It's all we do really. From sales, implementation, training to aftercare. So by all means, contact us in the details given to get more information on purchasing a Spectralis and integrating it into your practice. Or if you're an existing customer, upgrading one to take advantage of any new functionalities that we may be offering now and in the future. So I'd like to take a screenshot, and that is me. Thank you.
Great. I
With
think
20
that must be on
seconds,
time, Nathan.
20 seconds to spare. Well done.
20 seconds. I'm always giving. I'm always giving.
Seconds.
Thanks, Tosh. Just to also mention, you provided a handout. I think your presentation maybe. So if people want to download the handout on the panel, they can do that. This is 2 out of 5. The other one is Paris has supplied a handout as well. They're PDFs, so you can contact either Paris or Tosh that way.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Tosh.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay. So bear with me one moment. So next up is Andy and Michelle.
Indeed we have, yes. Let's see if we can get them on screen and we're all set to go. I can do my little intro. So we get 2 for the price of 1 here, which is a great deal by anybody's books, and especially for these 2. Okay, so let's give you a little intro. So Michelle and Andy, who are founders and inventors of a product called Lid Vision. So let's give a little bit of background between you both. So Michelle, with 25 years of experience selling in the optical industry, Michelle has a great track record in optics. Initially working with Marchon on the Calvin Klein brand to elevate the biggest tool to the optician, window displays, working closely with Calvin Klein corporate to develop wonderful spaces, developing a training program to translate to the optical industry to be more retail driven, and introducing linear meterage to understand space allocation, which actually at the moment is a very current topic, isn't it? Hey? So there you were bang on date with that one. Selling directly to the independent optical channel, starting with Flex-on frames and then promoted to Calvin Klein brand manager, working closely with designers during market week and product rating new collection releases. During this time, Michelle developed great knowledge in product design, processes, tooling, timing. Following on, Michelle worked for Dorigo and Mama London, selling to the independent markets in national and key accounts. Andy. So Andy started in the finance industry in 1995, working for the UK's largest corporate finance brokers by providing tailored company loans and leasing agreements, and in 2007, Andy moved to the optical industry, working with Marchand Eyewear, selling design frames and sunglasses directly to independent optical channels with brands with Calvin Klein, Bergamo, Nike, Lacoste, to name but a few. A move to optical lens sales meant that Andy has now gained a full overview of practice and patient requirements, and adopting this key knowledge that he's gained and using those requirements for lid vision and biker specific needs. It's a fabulously interesting product. Over to you guys. Off you go. Your little introduction about yourselves and your life hack app or book, please.
Thank you very much. Yes, just following on from what Jasmine's actually said, starting off for myself with regards to finance, understanding finance requirements, not only from a personal company point of view, but also being able to deliver business cases in general, and actually justifying why you should actually be within a particular practice and why your space is so valued. And that obviously ensures that you are actually giving not just a standardized product or service, but you're actually giving back to the practice in terms of delivering real profitability to that practice.
And for myself, being in the industry for quite a long time now, longer than I thought it's carried on for me. But what it's actually given me, especially what we're doing now with Live Vision, it's enabled us to develop products and move forward with a full understanding of what practices want, what they need in their practices.
Yeah.
And it was a long time actually in the development and what we're doing here that we listened, and we listened long and hard, didn't we? And then we've actually made something that is an answer to a solution.
Great. Sounds good to me. Okay. And what about your life hack or app or your book?
Well, that's something that predominantly you'll be able to find online, and the majority of the information there is broken down across the board, and it really shows the impact, especially considering the size of the market, in terms of how there's a massive want and a need to cater to that specific targeted area of bikers, power sport individuals and enthusiasts, and how they're actually being completely overlooked.
Okay. All right. So are you ready to go?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's just see. So you've got your screen. I don't think you're on slideshow, so you need to go into slideshow mode.
Let's go.
And then we can start the timer. Right, off you go.
I'm hoping that we'll actually meet the timer, but good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and we'd like to share with you the Lid Vision innovation into optics. Currently, we are delivering something that has not been seen before with regards to an optical requirement that isn't being covered. Because we're very, very keen bikers and motorsport enthusiasts, we knew that we needed to actually deliver a requirement for specific glasses that would be comfortable underneath a motorcycle helmet. After many months of trying to source a particular solution to this, we could find nothing. We went to many bike shows, we went to many opticians that we were also working with, and they had no solution to the problem. Our understanding of both the optical and the motorcycle world meant that we knew what was required and what was needed to be delivered. And so after finding nothing, we thought it best to actually come up with what was going to be required. And that meant that we needed to provide comfort, we needed to continue with the helmet integrity, the strength of helmets. We needed to make sure that we were delivering true lens performance, sun protection, and styling. And so we came up with the solution.
Okay.
If you can show the video.
Okay.
So hopefully you've had an idea there of exactly what the product actually delivers. However, we've taken it slightly further. If we look at where we started in terms of having that Blue Peter moment with regards to trying to put something together, we came up with our initial design. This has been a long time in the making, and the early design, whilst it wasn't totally on board, actually was giving us placement and practicality in terms of what was needed to deliver the requirement for comfort and lens efficiency.
Mm.
With each design, we actually knew that that was then going to enable us to move on to the next stage. So we literally needed to incorporate one thing that was missing, and that was true mathematical equations to provide the balance for the frame to be positioned correctly on the wearer's face. We knew that we needed to make sure that for all of the practices that we were going to be engaging with, that they had easy glazing for all prescriptions, both in optical and sun. And we need to make sure that it was a comfortable and conventional wear, both whilst wearing a helmet and also whilst they were literally using the frames for everyday requirements. So after that 9 years, we got to the stage where it was easy for them to dispense. It was practical in terms of the parts required, and we needed to make sure that they then got an overall requirement in terms of providing the total solution to what was needed. That led to obviously to testing. We needed to make sure that it worked underneath the helmet and just literally wearing an everyday frame. Apologies for the model in this particular instance. Considering I am a keen biker, I felt it was only fair for me to do all of the testing. We then literally made sure that the frame stayed in position with the visor up, it stayed in position with the visor down. There wasn't any real movement, which actually led to good, comfortable riding requirements. In recent times, we've actually increased our ability for new designs. So we've now got more versatile frames. Those versatile frames are going to work to a wider audience of not only bikers, but also sports individuals with our strap that enables them to remove the temple sides and then have a snug fitting frame. We've got a pack of 12 optical and 12 sun, but that's flexible. You can increase either optical or sun depending upon requirement. We've restyled our articulated arm to make it more aesthetically pleasing for the rider. And we've made sure that the release mechanism is more robust and easy to actually use to take the temples out and to click in new additions to the frame front.
So branding itself was really, really important. So we've got a mask with the eyes behind, and it gives a really good clear picture to the biker. They love this kind of imagery. So what was really important with bringing this fabulous product to market, we had to ensure that the POS was superb. And we worked really closely with a fabulous designer in London, and I told him exactly what we wanted, throw away all the logbooks and how he was going to put something together, and this is what we've come up with, and it works fabulously. We needed it to be really key and clean lines and also workable so the patient can be interactive with the POS.
So present times, we've got literally the frame in the helmet. We've got the conventional wear in terms of everyday use. And moving forward, we have now started the options of another feature, which will be in sporting aspects such as cycling, ski wear, to make sure that we've covered absolutely all of the requirements of very, very active people today. So we'd really like to thank you for the time. We look forward to seeing you all at 100%. We're going to be on stand E173. And if you need any further information, you can contact us either via the website or via the email. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Wow, what a journey you two have had. Amazing. Gosh, having an idea to actually getting it to fruition is hard work by anybody's standards. But yeah, great. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Cheers. Right, so next person on, we have Nick Atkins. Let's get Nick on. So Nick has done Tech Bites before. See if we can get him on screen here. And there we go. Hi, Nick. Here we are. We've got you. So, Nick,
Hello.
I'm going to do your little introduction, and then you've got to do your 2 minutes and your life hack or app or book. So here I go. So Nick qualified as a dispensing optician at City College London, closely followed by his contact lens qualification. He's worked for Bosch & Lomb and Advanced Vision Care before setting up a business consultancy called Proven Track Record. Okay. However, for the past 12
Correct.
years, for the 12 years that you've been doing this, you are the Director of Marketing and Professional Sales for Positive Impact Limited. He has brought unique products to market by applying his commercial skills through his deep understanding of the technical, clinical, and political aspects of ophthalmic industry. The business success is driven by optically experienced salespeople providing expert product knowledge in person, at least pre-COVID, okay, and by using product evaluation groups, research, and CET training to ensure maximum use of commercial and clinical appointments for time-poor eye care professionals, which is where we are now. So tonight the spotlight is on the Eye Doctor Compress. Over to you, Nick.
Thanks, Jay. Hello, everybody. Thanks for spending the evening, what is proving to be quite a late one now, and I get the late shift. So life hack. I had a sort of life hack in the bag, and then I spotted an even better life hack. Because we're doing a lot of these webinars now, and what I noticed, if you go to the top when you're top of the screen, if you're lucky enough to have 2 screens, and perhaps I suggest you might want to invest in 2 screens. If you're doing a lot of these webinars now, on certainly on this platform, GoToWebinar, you can use 2 screens, so you can see the slides and what's going on, and the individual a bit more life size, as though you're at a real event, rather than seeing a very tiny vision of the speaker next to their slides. So that's my life hack. I'd like to thank Paris, actually. Interestingly, we're presenting on a similar topic, and what he's done is a very good job for me of reminding everyone of the issue of meibomian gland dysfunction and the number of patients that it affects. I also want to thank Tosh, because he came up with a phrase, not all OCTs are the same. And that's kind of the theme of what I'm going to talk about, because I'm going to talk about at the other end of the spectrum from an IPL. I'm going to talk about one of these, an eye compress. And you're all probably thinking, Nick, we know about eye compresses. What are you doing, man? Well, you don't know about this eye compress. And if you do, great. And hopefully I'll share some things with you that you didn't know about this particular eye compress. Because if you didn't know, Positive Impacts are now the exclusive distributors for this particular piece of kit in the independent sector, which is predominantly where we do our business. In fact, almost exclusively do our business. For those of you who don't know, Positive Impact has developed over the years quite an extensive dry eye range. We now have 2 of the most important diagnostics in tear lab and Inflamadry, looking at osmolarity and inflammation, which of course Paris talked about, the inflammatory nature of dry eye and the problems that we have. So then we move on to having treatments covering most of the bases, from drops, nutraceuticals, plugs, you name it, lid care. We have it in our portfolio, and we're quite proud of the fact that we think we have products that are all very unique, with good USPs and good business development potential for and differentiation opportunities for independent practitioners. But there was a gap. We didn't have one of these, and we knew we didn't have one of these, and largely we kind of rejected the idea of ever getting involved in the hot compress market, because we felt it was fairly busy and saturated and mature in the UK. Although we did have an approach from an American company, had quite an interesting alternative to what was currently on the market, and particularly the C-type based products. But to cut to the chase, we are now the distributors of this product. And as I say, the one thing you're probably thinking is, I know all about eye compresses, Nick. I know how they work. I give them out all day long. But I bet you there isn't a product that you're using, unless you're using this one, that does all the things that this does. Some of the features of this will be available on some of the products, but not all of them will be available. This is the only product. I think this is now probably the safest, most clinically proven eye compress on the market. So to the point, because I've got a timer on, and what's in the box? So the first thing that comes in this box is this is the premium mask. And what you'll see here, ignore they do come with some lid wipes as well, but the key thing is it comes in a bag. So some products just come in a box, and once you throw the box away, you've got nothing to keep your eye compress nice and clean and tidy. You have a bag, a mesh bag. So coming to the mask itself, the compress itself, all looks fairly standard, really. It's got a strap, which some companies argue you shouldn't have a strap because you don't want it too tight on your head. I've got a big head. No, literally, I have a big head, and I have a large hat size. So I might not use this strap because it might make the bag a little bit too tight and the compress a little bit too tight on my eyes. So you can just leave the strap undone. You'll all be familiar with a shiny side and a sort of velvety side. The shiny side on this particular product is made of something called sterilized fabric. It is the only hot compress on the market that actually has a antibacterial performance on here. It is 99.99% effective against Staph aureus and Pseudomonas and numerous other bugs, and particularly of concern around the eyes. And when, of course, a patient has dry eyes and has lots of gunk and muck around the eyelids, there is going to be all sorts of bugs. And in this kind of time of COVID, we've all become very much more aware of the importance of keeping bug counts down. And this is patent pending, so it's not available on any other mask. The years it took for the eye doctor to create this won't be coming on any eye bag soon, and or hot compress soon, and certainly if the patent's approved, it won't be coming on any. So far, so good. The other neat thing about this particular product is you can remove the bag. This is the only, I'll draw your attention here to this tag. And one of the things, if I turn it out the right way, you might just be able to make out on the bottom, if I can keep it still enough, is there's a British standards number, BS 8433 2004, which is the microwavable personal warmers standard. And this bag actually meets that standard. And what part of the standard is actually having a big clear label with a large size font on it so people can clearly read the instructions. The other thing, those of you that saw my sort of pre-publicity for this, I've talked about the hashtag no more seeds. This bag is not a seed-based bag. Now that's an interesting fact because I didn't know that until fairly recently when we started talking more to Body Doctor. I became aware that this is not a seed-based bag. I assumed it was, but this contains what Body Doctor called body beads. They're silica beads. They generate a moist heat, which is far more effective at treating and getting the temperature required for the length of time you require it. So the great thing is you can take this out, you can wash this, recommend hand wash it in a mild detergent, not in a biological, and then reuse it. So I think, Jay, I've probably used my time up, haven't I? Pretty close.
You're quite close. Nathan?
Yeah, that was just bang on, actually, Nick. Well done.
Oh, I tell you.
I mean, the only thing I did forget to say is one of the disadvantages of not having a set of slides is you can't sort of screen capture our contact details. Hopefully, most of you know Positive Impact. If you don't, email us at sales@positiveimpact.co.uk for more info.
Perfect. Good stuff.
Excellent.
Right.
So, well, that's great. So, thank you very much, Nick. And yeah, I think now we can get everyone back and go through some of these questions. We've already got a few that have come in. So I'll share my screen again so people can see how to ask questions. So you can write in the box or you can raise your hand and we can put your microphone on and you can speak directly to us. So Paris, are you there?
I'm here, yes.
Yeah, Jordan, I don't know if you want to turn your camera on as well. Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Some really great presentations there. I think the first someone said to you, Paris, thank you very much, from Slavomir. I don't know if you know who that is, but obviously well received presentation there. The first question we had was from Beatrice, who said, do your doctors treat upper lid with Optima IPL, Paris?
Yes, it's a good question. Most companies out there that have IPLs do not address this issue. And lately we have seen also, there have been some studies out that we've seen that in severe cases, treating both sides of the eyelids is very beneficial, because as we all know, we have meibomian glands in both eyelids. Yes, our system is safe and effective in treating both upper and lower eyelids.
Good. Okay. Excellent. So we've got another question as well, which came from Susie Little, and this one is for you, Tosh. Can I ask if it's okay to move the Spectralis without having to get an engineer in? I'm thinking of a couple of moves per year and only to other rooms.
To other rooms, as long as the flow is pretty even and it's not one floor to another floor, then not a problem. You should be able to unplug it because when you switch the Spectralis on, it does a lot of self-testing before you actually scan the patient, so it'll calibrate itself and tell you if there's any issues. If you're moving it from floor to floor or practice to practice, then it's best for us to disassemble and reassemble it again.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Good stuff. Okay.
Right.
Susie says, thank you very much for that.
Cool.
So another question for you, Nick. Does the bag have dry or moist heat? Can you use it cold?
Good question. It's a moist heat bag. The silica, it works in a similar way. If you think of the stuff that you get in packaging when you buy products, they want to keep them, like I said, headphones, electronics, they'll put a silica gel bag in there because it'll absorb moisture. So these beads absorb moisture, re-release it. And we know that moist heat is more penetrative into the skin and it will retain its heat for a longer period. What was the other bit of the questions? Moist heat and
cold.
Can you use it cold?
Oh, it can be used cold. Yeah, there's actually one of the features of this particular bag. It's the only bag that can be used in an oven as well as a microwave and can be frozen as well. So,
Oh wow.
Who knew that? Not many that, and I'm told regularly by practitioners that talk to patients, there's people out there without microwaves.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Good. Right. Let's see what other questions we have. I've got a question actually, and that's for Andy, and to ask about. Can you tell us more about the sports side of things, Andy? How that would work?
Yes, certainly. On the basis where we've got people now who are, without question, more active in terms of running, cycling, and what have you, taking their frame and without being, specific to wanting to pay large sums for targeted branded sports equipment, they are able just to remove the sides, apply the strap, and regardless of the high intensity of activity, that enables them to have their frame in the correct position for the correct requirement of prescription and do whatever they want to do. And that's right across the board.
Right. Great. Okay. Great. All right.
Okay.
Let's see what else we have.
I've got one for Nick. Is it a medical device?
Yes, it's CE marked. It's not a it's a good question. It's CE marked. Is it a medical device?
Hmm.
Should know that. I will. I'm not sure that they need to be medical devices per se. I don't believe it is.
Okay. I can give you that person's details if you want to. Well, if they want to contact you afterwards as well. So there's a survey.
Interesting. Sorry, Nathan. Interesting. You don't even need to have a British standard compliance. That's a voluntary thing that the eye doctor do. I'm not sure there's a lot of policing of this particular market.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that so basically, it's worth mentioning to everyone who's on this webinar. At the end, there's a survey, and if you want to Nick to contact you or anyone else, you can tick a box for that. Yes,
it's a Class 1 medical device. I've just read it on the box.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. You see.
Registered with the MHRA. So there you go. I should have known that.
Excellent.
Okay, cool stuff. So that's
Good.
highlighted that. Tosh, I've got one for you. You said it was multimodal.
Mhm.
Okay, nice word. More explanation, please.
So
Spectralis.
Spectralis has probably up to about 14 and 16 modes in one device. So let's say, for example, if someone comes in with family history of glaucoma, you're going to do a certain number of scans, not just OCT, but different fundus imaging as well. You know, you might do infrared. Obviously, you might do glaucoma scans. You might do more neurology-based scans to look at any kind of glaucoma / neuro-ophthalmology possibilities as well. So it means that you're doing a bespoke range of tests for that individual. You're not just coming in and just doing a standard OCT scan on everyone. You're actually tailoring the machine to the individual walking in the door.
Right, gotcha. Okay, that's good. Great. Thank you.
I did have a hand raised, and I don't know if Patricia meant to raise her hand, but I'm going to try and see if she wants to talk. I've sent a request. She might disappear now. That sometimes happens.
Yeah. I was going to say they get shy.
Can I ask, coming back to the question around medical devices, the Luminous, is that CE marked, or what's the regulatory status for the device with regards to the ocular surface, Paris?
For EMEA, for Europe, it has to be CE device and CE certified, and of course we are CE certified.
Okay, great. Okay.
There's another question here. For the green team, is the helmet and glasses easily removable by emergency services? Well, that's a good question. In case of an accident.
No, it's a very valid question as well.
Very valid question. Understanding the actual movement of a helmet visor is that actually within a accident or a collision, the general aspect of what happens with the helmet visor is that it actually comes away on one side, depending on impact, away from the face. So it actually means that nothing goes in the direction towards the face, it comes away from the face. So automatically it means that nothing will impact towards the eyes in any form of collision or impact with the road surface in any way, shape or form.
You may well find that you might get patients that have come into you that have been in an accident, and then you'll see the dent and the bruise, black eyes, cuts down the face because the frame is actually sliced into the side of their temple or to their bridge. But what happens with the visor, because we're attached to the visor, it's thrown away from the face.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Good, I like that. So little bits, it's those little key bits of information that you've thought about. That means, yeah, that's proper sort of product knowledge and research, isn't it, to try and make sure it all works.
Absolutely.
Research and development, but also testing it out for every eventuality, really.
Yeah. Okay, great. I've got a question here. What's the next one here? So we've got here, is the Luminous treatment available on the NHS? What do we think?
It's a good question. IPL treatments and in general, dry eye treatments, it's an out-of-pocket in all Europe. It hasn't been adopted by any insurance or public organization so far. We've seen a turn towards that in the US. Some insurance companies now realize the benefits, so it's been compensated, but in Europe, not yet.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Actually, as an adjunct to that question, what about, you mentioned reimbursement. Is reimbursement available in the UK currently? What providers might reimburse?
No, I mean, IPL treatment at this point, everywhere in Europe, including the UK, it's an out-of-pocket expenditure,
Right.
so it's not
Gotcha.
reimbursed.
Okay, great. Okay, any last questions then?
Yeah, we've got one more for Andy and Michelle. Is it comparable with varifocal wearers?
Very, very much so. The whole aspect in terms of what we've delivered ensures that, based upon the way in which the frame sits absolutely on the face as it would be as you were wearing a normal frame, means that the lens efficiency is no different to if you were wearing the frame without the helmet. It's positioned exactly as it needs to be to make sure that all of the areas that you would look through, in this particular instance, would normally be your distance and your near vision, is no different than if you were wearing the frame without a helmet. That was the importance of making sure that the lens performance was exactly as it was required.
Brilliant. Great. Good stuff.
Okay. I'm going to try see if I can get Slav on here, because he would like to ask Tosh a question. So I'm going to send an unmute request. Hope it works. Slav, can you hear us? He's on mute at the moment, so I don't know if he can unmute.
Yeah, might need to unmute.
I've got his question here if it's not going to work.
Yep.
So this
Can
is,
you hear me?
Oh,
we can
hello.
hear you. There he is.
Hey.
How are you?
Yes, sure, man, sure. Thanks. Great webinars, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who is your question for?
Yeah, I was asking Tosh Vadia from Heidelberg, actually. Are they going to implement some kind of a OCT for the meibomian glands?
Good question. OCT for meibomian glands. At the moment, if you actually wanted to image them, you would use the fundus view, which is the confocal scanning infrared laser. There's been various postings of late, actually, on LinkedIn showing that it's possible on the standard spectralis just by switching off OCT and adjusting the brightness and infrared, and obviously trying to image them. It's been possible for many years on a particular type of spectralis that has an independent brightness control. So yeah, I mean, you can do that and record it for the patient records right now if you wanted to, but OCT probably not so recommended, just confocal infrared.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks. Great answer. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, that's pretty much brought us up to the hour. And yeah, we've had I think the questions could keep coming, but what I'd say to people, if you have got questions that you want to talk directly to anyone, when you do the survey at the end, if you click on wish to hear more information from our speakers, if you pick who you want to hear from, then they'll contact you and vice versa. So we can swap details. So please do the survey. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today. And it's been a really good, interesting mix of products yet again. So thank you very much. Excellent presentations and really informative. So
yeah.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Okay,
Good
take
night.
care. Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.